He was exceptionally approved for graduation by his superiors, but months earlier, on a tense night, Nate was sprinting toward the U.S. Embassy, desperately seeking asylum. It turned out that while meeting with an American spy planted in Russia to exchange intelligence, local police mistook the encounter for a drug deal. To protect the spy's identity, Nate opened fire to draw attention to himself, barely escaping with his life and making it to the embassy, because of his extreme actions. However, the US had no choice but to send him back to avoid exposing their undercover asset. After graduation, Dominica was summoned to a restaurant by her uncle, who assigned her first official mission. Russia had begun suspecting there was a mole inside their ranks because of the Nate incident, and just days ago, Nate had surfaced in Budapest. Her mission: get close to him and extract the identity of the spy. Her uncle reminded her of the organization's motto: you sacrifice whatever needs to be sacrificed. Dominica understood the truth. Once she stepped into this world, there was no way out. She accepted. Given a new name and passport, she traveled to Budapest. According to intel, Nate was a notorious womanizer who frequented a swimming pool and dated constantly, so Dominica dyed her hair blonde, slipped into a stunning swimsuit, and used her striking figure to brush past him just once. That was enough. By the time she left the pool, Nate was already waiting outside. She assumed he would bite the hook immediately, but Nate had already sensed something different about her aura, her posture. He dug into her background and discovered she was Russian. Choosing to play along, he pretended not to know and temporarily let her go, while secretly reporting everything to his superiors. But this is where the real game begins. Nate believed he had outsmarted her. In reality, everything was part of Dominica's plan. Before the swimming pool encounter, she had already appeared within his line of sight. Though given a new identity, she continued using her real name in Budapest, deliberately giving Nate something to trace. Why, you'll soon see. Dominica approached the local Russian station chief. Because she had lied to Nate, claiming to be a Russian diplomatic translator, she needed to appear at the upcoming diplomatic conference to maintain her cover. The chief agreed, but demanded she sleep with him first. In the eyes of these officials, female agents existed to please men. Dominica locked eyes with him, eyes that could kill. Intimidated, he backed down and granted her request. At the conference, she noticed her roommate acting suspiciously close to an American official. While her roommate was out, Dominica searched her room and found evidence. An idea formed: she could use her roommate as a stepping stone. First, she lured the lecherous station chief into a bar trap. Though she took a punch in the process, she successfully framed him for sexual assault, getting him arrested by local police. Now she could report directly to her uncle. Next, she followed Nate home, pretended she had been mistreated, and with a kiss, extracted information about his meeting with a contact in the park. Later, she broke into Nate's apartment and stole a glass bearing his fingerprints. Remember that detail, it matters. When her uncle arrived for her report, she revealed the evidence she found in her roommate's room, but she had broken protocol. In their organization, everything must be reported truthfully. Her uncle hadn't known about the roommate's involvement with an American. That omission would come back to haunt her. The roommate overheard their conversation and later confronted Dominica with a gun, accusing her of betrayal. Dominica calmly said she was helping to bribe an American official required money. She had secured funds through her uncle. Relieved, the roommate stood down. The next day, the roommate was found dead in the bathtub. An assassin was still inside the apartment. He forced Dominica to kneel beside the body and reminded her, the organization's rules are ironclad, break them, and this is the result. Dominica reported the death to police. Nate, already informed through his Russian contact that she was an agent, waited outside the station. Seeing no point in pretending further, she confessed everything. Originally, she intended to complete her mission, but after learning Nate fired in the park to protect his own informant, her perspective shifted. In her country, intelligence services were cold and ruthless. Female agents were tools. Her own uncle had thrown her into the fire for a mission, but in Nate's world, she saw loyalty and protection. She decided to defect and seek asylum with the Americans. Since it was voluntary, she passed the CIA polygraph easily. She then proposed a plan. She would provide valuable intelligence in exchange for a payment into her account. The Americans laughed until she revealed the intel involved an American official planning to sell missile defense secrets. Suddenly, the deal became priceless. Only she and her uncle knew about the bank account. But the account wasn't hers, it was one she had recently opened for her uncle. Using their family connection, she intended to frame him. It was her revenge. Now operating as a double agent, she arranged a deal between the Russians and the corrupt American official at a hotel. Using a hidden CIA mechanism under a table, she swapped the real data disks for blank ones, protecting US secrets. Everything seemed smooth, but as the American official left, he sensed surveillance. Panicked, he tossed the money into a trash bin and ran, only to be struck and killed by a truck. Russian observers saw everything. Her handler immediately changed plans and flew her back to Moscow for interrogation. Nate followed her to the airport, intending to help, but she subtly signaled him not to intervene. She had another plan. Back in Russia, she was brutally interrogated. Her uncle watched as she endured psychological and physical torture. No matter what they did, she insisted she had not betrayed them. Finally, her uncle approached her personally, appealing to family ties. With tears in her eyes, she claimed her closeness to Nate and the intel she shared were all part of gaining his trust. To expose the mole, she swore loyalty. Her uncle chose to believe her. For now, she was sent back to Budapest. Back with Nate, their bond deepened rapidly. After an intimate night together, she awoke to find Nate gone. When she stepped into the living room, she saw the organization's assassin waiting. It was a test. If she had truly defected, she would side with Nate and kill the assassin. If not, she would prove her loyalty. The assassin produced a torture device known as the Skinner, capable of peeling flesh layer by layer. At first, Dominika could only watch as Nate screamed in agony into lower the assassin's guard. She offered to do it herself. When he turned his back, she smashed the device into his skull. She cut Nate's bindings. The assassin recovered and launched a vicious attack. Here, the difference between amateur and professional became clear. The assassin wounded them both repeatedly, but working together, they severed his Achilles tendon. Dominika seized the moment, mounted him, and drove a knife into his throat, ending him. The movie ends here. Thanks for your watching. Leave your comments below and don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this. Turn on the notification, and leave a like to help the channel out.